Breaking news coming out today, December the 2nd, 2024, as we are hearing that there are major conflicts around the world. The United States issuing threats and being threatened today. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest headlines so you can see exactly what is taking place. Take a look at this. Coming out today, Trump has warned that there will be all hell to pay if hostages are not released by January 20th. And yes, this is a threat to Hamas, who is a proxy group of Iran. So we're hearing that right now, Trump is issuing some stern statements saying that you need to release these hostages. We need to get them back. We need to take care of this situation. And if it is not done by the time I am in office, there will be all hell to pay. Trump putting his foot down right now with Hamas and with Iran. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, this comes as well as I shared with you that there was a ceasefire that was made. I think it was the day before Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly, between Israel and Hezbollah. And we're hearing that ceasefire violations have taken place left and right. Over 50 of them we're hearing are being reported. And it does not look like these proxy groups, they are holding to their word. Surprise, surprise. So we are hearing that Israel is saying that there could be conflict arising yet again. And Trump now issuing threats on behalf of the United States and Israel, warning of what could be coming here. Now, in addition to that, it is not just with the conflict in the Middle East, but we're also hearing that there are threats going back and forth between the U.S. and Russia. Take a look at this. Kremlin says that Trump threats to the BRICS nations over the U.S. dollar will backfire. Putin saying that Trump is going to put major tariffs and stop the de-dollarization, get the U.S. dollar back on track. He's going to stop BRICS. Putin saying no, that is not going to happen. It is going to backfire. We had heard Putin say it is time for the new world. The U.S. is the old world, and Putin is going to be leading us into the new world with the BRICS nation. There's going to be de-dollarization, and it is time for a new ultimate power over Earth. Putin leading the charge on this. However, as I mentioned, Donald Trump is saying, no, that is not going to happen. So Putin and Trump kind of butting heads here as to who's going to be not only the nuclear, but also economic power on Earth. And this comes as I've shared with you, Russia has issued warnings to the U.S. over catastrophic nuclear exchange scenarios that could unfold. And I shared with you that we had just received an update from the U.S. government, FEMA, releasing that information, sharing with us what to do in preparation for nuclear radiation exposure if there is a nuclear fallout from nuclear war and World War III. We're hearing that Ukraine is saying World War III is already here. They're saying it's official. We're hearing other nations, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, I believe, they are saying that they're handing out pamphlets to their citizens to prepare, to start stocking up on supplies, food, water, things for your children, at least a week's worth, as they're saying that we could be entering into global conflict and nuclear war. In addition to that, 800,000 troops we're hearing could be dispatched from Germany on behalf of NATO to Ukraine to fight against Russia. And we heard Putin say that this is going global. So we are hearing that also major conflict potentially leading to nuclear war could be taking place, and also more threats coming out. Let's take a look at this. As Trump plans mass deportation, Mexico suddenly views of migration have hardened and changed. We had heard he had proposed 25% increases in tariffs against Canada and Mexico for the border issues. And we're hearing that Canada is saying that this would break us. Trump saying, well, maybe you should become the 51st state of America then if you can't sustain without robbing America of billions of dollars. And also we're hearing that Mexico is now saying they're willing to get along. I'm going to share with you the video footage as we're hearing that caravans that were making their way to the United States, illegal immigrants to cross over, making their way through Mexico. Suddenly, now Mexico's president is saying, nope, they have disbanded those groups and they're sending them back. So a major policy shift in Mexico now. Again, we are seeing the Trump effect. And if you are feeling the Trump effect, drop a 47 in the comments. But you can see Trump making some huge impacts here. And we're hearing threats being issued by Trump and Trump receiving threats, but this is no longer a passive America. We are now in an America where Donald Trump is saying America first, issuing tariff warnings around the world, trying to straighten up nations, issuing threats that if things are not straightened up by the time that he is in office on January 20th, there is going to be, he said, and I quote, all hell to pay. So I am seeing those 47s coming in as people are saying they are feeling the Trump effect. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. We're going to be talking about, as I mentioned here, things that are happening in the Middle East with Trump, things that are happening with Russia with Trump, things that are happening with Mexico and Canada with Trump. And I've got the latest articles and video footage. And again, all of these linked in the description below. I cite all the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it, so that way you can see it is the latest and know that you are getting the most current updated information. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor before we dive in, take a quick second, hit that like button for me. I see we've got 2,200 people live, 417 likes. If I could get half of the room to hit the like button, if you haven't done so yet, helps out the channel a ton. I would appreciate it. Just spreads it out across the social media platform. In addition to that, if this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button? Just takes a second. Keep you up to speed on everything. And as I mentioned, changing the format of the live streams a little bit for you so that way I can get you more information, because there is just so much that is going on. I'm now going to be covering multiple topics in these live streams and then breaking them up and dropping them on the video section so that way you can get smaller clips of these live streams in video format specific to a topic. So we're going to be covering, as I mentioned, Israel, Hamas. I'll take that, drop it as a video. Russia and BRICS, take that, drop it as a video, and also Mexico and Canada and the issues with our borders. I'll go ahead and split those up. So if you want to watch these later on individually, but in this live stream right now, and we've got 2,300 people almost, and I see all the people in the comments. I see the 47s coming in. Lynn saying, great job. Goani is saying, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Dom is saying, laughing out louds. While I'm live with you, I'm going to just be covering all the topics so you can know exactly what is going on. And BA Technologies saying, come on, people, just hit that like button and subscribe. BA Technologies also has that star. Thank you for hitting the join button, becoming a member of the channel, supporting with those monthly contributions. Not necessary, but greatly appreciated. And as a result, not only will all of these references be in the description, but they'll also pop up on your YouTube feed. Just a little extra thank you to those that support the channel. I appreciate it a ton. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and get to the latest information so you can see exactly what is taking place with threats around the world, going from Donald Trump and to Donald Trump. And let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's start off with this article coming out today, as Trump has warned that there will be all hell to pay if hostages aren't released by January 20th, after making threat as candidate at the RNC. President-elect doubles down 2 days after Hamas releases video of an American-Israeli captive begging him to secure a deal. And let me know if you've seen this video footage. It was released, and I got a chance to watch it. Not going to be playing it for you live here, but I am going to be reading the article information. It says, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on Monday threatened those holding hostages in the Middle East with unprecedented American firepower if they are not released by the time that he enters office on January 20th. So Trump is saying, we are done negotiating with this terrorist group, Hamas. We are issuing the threat. This is the ultimatum. This is your timeline. Get them released, or there will be all hell to pay. Trump first made a similar threat as presidential candidate at the Republican National Convention in July. But the latest warning posted on Truth Social came 2 days after Hamas released a propaganda video showing American-Israeli hostage Eden Alexander pleading with the president-elect to secure his release. The statement also came hours after the IDF revealed that another American-Israeli hostage, Omar Neutral, lost his life during Hamas's October 7th onslaught, and that his body is actually being held in Gaza. Neutral had been thought to have been alive in captivity, but now they're saying he's actually been passed away for a while. Everybody is talking about the hostages who are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East. But it's all talk and no action, Trump wrote on Truth Social without mentioning Israel or the Palestinian terror group by name. Please let this truth serve to represent that if the hostages are not released prior to January 20th of 2025, the date that I proudly assume office as President of the United States, there will be all hell to pay in the Middle East and for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity," he continued. "Those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now," Trump added. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Trump issuing some pretty aggressive responses there. And if you are feeling it, if you are liking that, go ahead and drop that 47 in there for the Trump effect. Let me know your thoughts. Bobby Jackson, thank you for the $10 super chat. We have war starting, staring us in the face. Something can happen at any time. Without a doubt, Bobby Jackson, I totally agree. And thank you for that $10 super chat. We have got so many conflicts taking place all over. We're going to be seeing what unfolds here. We have got it in the Middle East with Russia. There's so many things, and I see those 47s coming in, as people are saying they are feeling the Trump effect. He's coming in hot. He called for the hostages released several times throughout his presidential campaign, but also made a point of insisting that most of the hostages are no longer alive. And we had heard this warning that a lot of them, they could have been executed. And that was after we had seen the leader of Hamas, Sinwar. After he had lost his life, we had heard that there potentially could have been an order that if Sinwar lost his life, that all of them should have been executed. However, we're hearing that some of them still might remain. So we will see. And here is a clip from the video footage of that Israeli American pleading for Donald Trump to come to a ceasefire and hostage release. Accordingly, he was reportedly caught off guard when President Isaac Herzog told him in a call late last month that Israeli intelligence assesses that half of the hostages are still in Gaza and are alive. Half of the hostages are still alive, they believe. So they are still fighting to get those that are alive out of Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's wife, Sarah, said that she raised the plight of the hostages during her dinner on Sunday night with Trump at the president-elect's golf course resort in Florida. The outgoing administration is still working to secure a deal before January 20th, and U.S. President Joe Biden met with the families of the remaining American hostages last month in the Oval Office. Biden said, "I don't care if Trump gets all of the credit as long as they come back home." Biden told the families during the meeting, according to one of the family members in the room. After securing a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah last week, Biden said that he would launch another effort to secure a similar deal in Gaza by leaning on Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt, which all have ties with Hamas, in order to coax the terror group into a deal. Now, the topic was slated to be discussed when a Hamas delegation held meetings in Cairo on Monday. But White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said that there was no update to offer regarding the efforts to secure a hostage release and ceasefire deal in Gaza. Kirby said during a Monday press briefing that Hamas remains the main stumbling block. Arab mediators have held a different assessment, viewing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the main obstacle, given his continual refusal to permanently end the war and withdraw all IDF forces from Gaza in exchange for a release of all the remaining hostages. So we are hearing that Benjamin Netanyahu is saying there will be a ceasefire when you release the hostages. We had heard that there were three parts to this: release the hostages, allow those in the north to return safely to their homes along the Lebanon-Israeli border, and in addition to that, we need to eradicate the threat of these various proxy groups to Israel. And we are hearing that Arab mediators are saying that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu needs to back off his forces, then the hostages will be released. And Benjamin Netanyahu is saying, no, these proxy groups, they cannot be trusted. We will not back off until the hostages are released first. Let me know, do you agree with Benjamin Netanyahu? And we are hearing that this is also what Donald Trump is saying as well, that they need to release them and release them first, and release them now. If you agree with Netanyahu and Trump, again, drop those 47s in the comments. If you disagree, drop a 46 for Joe Biden, who has been very diplomatic in his talks with these proxy groups. 47 if you agree with Trump and the Trump effect. 46 if you agree with Joe Biden, who actually said he doesn't care if Trump gets doesn't get the credit, if he gets the credit, just so long as they return home. But so far, Biden's efforts have not yielded the hostages to return home at this time. And I'm seeing those 47s starting to come in. Now, successive polls have suggested that the majority of the Israeli public is in favor of this trade-off, but Netanyahu is beholden to the far-right coalition partners who have rejected it outright as they seek to reestablish settlements in Gaza and permanently occupy the Strip. Hardline critics of such a deal have argued that it would allow Hamas to regroup, while Israel's security establishment has retorted that the IDF can return to Gaza if need be. Kirby said Monday that Hamas should now feel isolated following the ceasefire deal in Lebanon, and that its leaders should agree to a deal to end the war. So we're hearing that they are saying hopefully they're going to be able to isolate Hamas now that they have done a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah. But as you can see, that appears to be falling apart as we speak. Now, later Monday, Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer was scheduled to meet at a State Department with U.S. Secretary of the State Anthony Blinken. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said that Blinken planned to raise ongoing efforts to secure a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza, in addition to pressing Israel to advance a viable plan for the post-war management of Gaza. The U.S. has long expressed frustration with Netanyahu over the latter issue, since for months the premier refused to discuss the matter at all. In November, Netanyahu said that he had directed the IDF to continue up with a plan for boxing out Hamas from the distribution of humanitarian aid, but Washington and Israel's Arab allies, they have warned that this goal is impossible as long as Israel continues to refuse the involvement of a reformed Palestinian Authority, given that they do not see any other viable option in Gaza capable of filling any vacuum left by Hamas. Words alone have no power to comfort. Now, the family of Omar Neutral, the American-Israeli hostage whose loss of life was announced by Israel on Monday today, said words alone would not bring them comfort and called on the leaders of Israel and the United States to act to bring home the remaining hostages. Now, in the 423 days since October 7th, we expected our leaders to demonstrate the same courage displayed so bravely by Omar and rise to the occasion on behalf of those who are willing to lose their lives and kidnap, willing to take lives and to kidnap, just as our beloved Omar showed until the very end. Omar's parents, Ronan and Orna, and brother Daniel, said in a joint statement expressing their gratitude for the support that they have received around the world during their struggles. Sadly, time has run out to bring Omar home alive, and words alone have no power to comfort. Leadership will only be revealed in actions and results going forward. We call upon the Israeli government to work with President Biden and President-elect Trump to use all of their leverage and resources to return all 101 hostages, living and deceased, to their families as soon as possible, they added. In his own statement responding to the news, Biden said he was devastated and outraged. A Long Island native, Omar planned to return to the United States for college. He dreamed of dedicating himself to building peace, the president said. He recalled meeting Omar's parents last month at the White House, where they again shared their story. They told me how Omar's grandparents were Holocaust survivors and how their family's strength and resilience has been carried through the generations, Biden said. To all of the families of those still held hostage, we see you. We are with you. And I will not stop working to bring your loved ones back home where they belong, Biden pledged. Eden Alexander, Sergei Dekelchen, and Keith Siegel are the last remaining American hostages believed to still be alive. The bodies of 4 other Americans, Neutral, Judith Weinstein, Gedai Haggai, and Itai Chen, are still being held in Gaza. So we are hearing that Donald Trump issuing some serious threats right now, saying that there will be hell to pay, and there will be a retaliation unlike anything ever seen in American history against these groups that are Iran-backed if there is not something done, and soon before January 20th. And again, we're hearing that the Trump effect could be taking place here very soon. So we will see, because we are roughly a month and a half out from January 20th. And so we will see what the responses will be coming out on this. And as I mentioned, we are hearing the ceasefire that the Biden administration and that France had orchestrated between Israel and Hezbollah with Lebanon. It is essentially falling apart. So far, the efforts by the current administration not bringing to fruition a ceasefire that will last or a hostage agreement that will release these hostages back home. So we're going to see if Donald Trump is going to be able to pull this off here. And he is saying to do it before he gets into office, because if not, he said there will be all hell to pay. Now, in addition to that, take a look at this. Kremlin says that Trump's threats to the BRICS nations over U.S. dollar will backfire. Now, we've been hearing for quite some time that Russia is leading the charge in what they're calling the New World Order, saying it is time for the world to embrace a new power, a new economic power, and they are leading the BRICS nations to de-dollarize America and take over. And we are hearing that Donald Trump, when he was elected president, he said there will be none of that. That we will come in, we will do tariffs all across the world, and we're going to get America first back on track. Well, we're hearing now that Putin has responded, and he has said this is going to backfire. And as you can see, this coming out December the 2nd, 14 hours ago. Let's take a look at the latest information so that way you can see what it is that Putin had to say. And there you can see Xi Jinping sitting right next to him. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. These are the nations that are in conflict against the United States. But Xi Jinping, China, Russia, Brazil, India, we're hearing these other nations coming together to de-dollarize and take over economically. Now, this article says the Kremlin said on Monday today that any U.S. attempt to compel countries to use the dollar would backfire after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to impose tariffs on BRICS countries if they created their own currency. Trump on Saturday demanded that BRICS member countries commit to not creating a new currency or supporting another currency that would replace the U.S. dollar, saying that they would otherwise face 100% tariffs. Wow. The BRICS grouping initially included Brazil, Russia, India, and China, but has since expanded to take in other countries. The grouping does not have a common currency, but long-running discussions on the subject have gained some momentum after the West imposed sanctions on Russia over the war in Ukraine. Asked about Trump's comments, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that the dollar was losing its appeal as a reserve currency for many countries, a trend that he said was gathering pace. More and more countries are switching to the use of national currency in their trade and foreign economic activities, Peskov told reporters. If Washington resorted to economic force to compel countries to use the dollar, it would backfire, he predicted. If the U.S. uses force, as they say, economic force, to compel countries to use the dollar, it will further strengthen the trend of switching to national currencies in international trade, said Peskov. So they are warning Trump, you can issue these threats all you want, but we are going to de-dollarize you. And also, if you do this and you try to force the dollar upon people, it is going to backfire. So they are threatening to try to destabilize the dollar, remove the U.S. as the number one economic power. And we've actually heard Putin recently come out and literally say it is time for a new world order. And Russia, he is saying, is going to lead the charge on that. The dollar is beginning to lose its appeal as a reserve currency for a number of countries. Dollar dominance, the outsized role of the U.S. dollar in the world economy, has in fact been strengthened of late thanks to the robust U.S. economy, tighter monetary policies, and heightened geopolitical risks, even as economic fragmentation has boosted a push by BRICS countries to shift away from the dollar into other currencies. Now, a study by the Atlantic Council of Geoeconomic Centers this year showed that the U.S. dollar remains the world's primary reserve currency, and neither the euro nor the so-called BRICS countries have been able to reduce global reliance on the dollar. So we are hearing that there is an economic war that is about to come up as well between Russia and the United States, and Russia leading the charge, but it's actually the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, all of these nations coming together, challenging the United States for an economic power. But not only that, as I've shared with you, just in the past couple of days, we've received warnings about nuclear war and nuclear missiles and what would unfold in the United States if Russia were to launch its Satan II missiles into various cities. Now, I'll go ahead and link that after this live stream is over because I go into detail for you what would unfold, what the extent of it would be like if it hit Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas. It goes into detail on various cities, and they are showing where the fireball blast would be, where the mushroom clouds would go. There's circles of square mileage of where you would be completely evaporated, where you would be blinded, lit on fire, where the streets would turn to magma lava. In addition to that, where you would receive third-degree burns from radiation, and the radius is huge. But they're saying you would probably get a 15-minute warning, and they're saying that it could save your life. But I don't know about you, but here in Houston, Texas, if everybody in the city was to receive a 15-minute warning to get out of the city, even if they did not receive a 15-minute warning, but somehow one person knew, 15 minutes is not enough to get out of the blast zone. 15 minutes would not get me out of the city. It is so big. Let me know your thoughts. But they're saying to take that into consideration. And in fact, FEMA here in the United States has released a roughly 300-page guide now. Just in the past week, we're hearing an updated guide on what to do if nuclear missiles were to hit major cities. I covered some of the details for you, but they basically said stay inside, try to find shelter, hide, don't reconnect with loved ones within a 24-hour period because you might give someone else radiation exposure or they might give it to you. But if you are in those radiuses of explosions, some of them they're basically saying you will be completely wiped out and evaporated. So we are hearing that there are major warnings and threats with the conflict going on right now with Russia. So Donald Trump butting heads with Vladimir Putin. Now, in addition to that, we're hearing that policies for Canada and Mexico are being challenged by Donald Trump. 25% tariffs are being pushed if they do not make changes to their border issues that are currently unfolding. And we're hearing that things have taken a turn for Mexico. So let me go ahead and share with you this video footage coming out just today. As I mentioned, all of these conflicts that are taking place, these threats to and from the United States, all coming out today. And take a look at what's going on with Mexico. And let me know when I play this for you, if you like it, drop those 47s for the Trump effect. We're hearing that Mexico is now changing their tune on illegal immigration coming through Mexico to the United States. Take a look at this video clip with me.
Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about this. Just a week after Donald Trump threatened 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada unless they stop the flow of migrants into the country. And we said at the time, we said this is how he negotiates. This is, we'll never see the tariffs, but this is how he gets the people to the table. There are two developments, up north and down south. First up, it was just after the incoming president, Donald Trump, spoke on the phone to the president of Mexico, and they talked about some sort of an agreement on stopping the flow of people into the United States. Well, you know what happened? Mexican authorities that same day broke up 2 migrant caravans heading to the United States. And apparently on that same day, the migrants and caravan, the president of Mexico said that migrants and caravans will be taken care of before they reach the border. That is something new, and that happened after her conversation with Donald Trump. So regarding the South, that apparently is something new, and it was because of the tariffs.
So we were telling y'all about these caravans. What, last week, I guess, we were showing these images coming up to Mexico. They wanted to get here before Joe Biden is out of office. Well, now they're being stopped by the president of Mexico because Donald Trump won. Donald Trump has threatened her. Then she just put on social media, she said migrants and caravans are taken care of before they reach the border.
Wow, that's great news. They did have a difference of opinion on what went on in that conversation on the tone and tenure. But Justin Trudeau made no mistake about it. They had a good conversation, he said. And I have a better idea. Why don't I come come down over the weekend and come visit you. And next thing you know, the Canadians are cracking down there. They got $3.1 trillion worth of goods going back and forth. He's going to run for re-election in 2025. He can't have any type of trade war with the U.S. And they are concerned about the numbers crossing in their country. And he said, I do want to stop down the northern border. How do we do it? How do we work together? So at Mar-a-Lago, they seem to have worked it out. There was Senator-elect McCormick there, and Governor Burgum is going to be Secretary of
Security
Energy.
Advisor.
Yeah, that's Mike Waltz. That's a pretty prestigious table. So now you have on both situations engaged, active, addressing.
Boy, did I miss this. Look, every country's leader is going to go back home and beat their chest, and because they don't want to appear weak. And this is what the Mexican president is doing. She's saying, look, the call went differently. I don't judge it by that. I judge by the action. And the bottom line is that the groups that are coming across have slowed down. Mm-hmm. They've been disbarred. They've been disbanded. The caravan has been broken up. So something happened over that phone.
And don't you think they watched America? I mean, he has a re-election, 100%. Trudeau, and don't you think he watched what happened here in America? He's like, wait a minute. That's why he did that video saying, I'm going to go after immigration now.
Well, and the Canadian border minister told Bloomberg after the meeting at Mar-a-Lago, now Canada is going to devote more drones and choppers and staff to the northern border, our northern border, their southern border. It's all because of the Trump tariff threat. That's all it took. It was just a threat.
This is just a coincidence.
That's a part.
This is just happening by chance. The phone call meant nothing. It has nothing to do with new administration coming in or not. I think this is a promise made and a promise kept. And remember, he said from the very beginning, some of this stuff was going to be done before he even took office. And all the pundits and the commentators said, no, there's no way. He thinks that he can just pick up his phone and things get fixed. Well, lo and behold, things have already started to happen before he actually has the power as president.
A couple of things. In Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian migrants are beginning to go to sanctuary cities. Number two is there have been arrests of the Aurora Venezuelan gangsters in New York City. Why is that?
What's happening?
Yeah. So we'll see. Now suddenly it's not cool to be a gangster.
Right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
There you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. We're hearing that Mexico has changed its tune and that the massive migrant groups that were going through Mexico that were on their way to the United States, Mexico is stopping them and they're sending them back. And so let me know if you like that. Drop those 47s in the comments and don't forget to hit the like button if you appreciate Donald Trump, the Donald Trump effect taking place on Mexico as he threatened them with 25% tariffs. And as a result of that, we are hearing that things have dramatically shifted. Mexico now getting on board with Donald Trump. Now, in addition to that, I just read, literally before I was live, I was doing a little bit of research on social media, so I haven't been able to confirm this. So I don't know if it's 100% or not. But I heard that information is being leaked out that there was a conversation that was held between Canadian President Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. And he said, you cannot hit Canada with 25% tariffs. If you do, it will cripple our economy and it will devastate us. And Donald Trump said, well, if you can't survive, if your Canadian economy is that fragile that it can't survive without ripping off the United States to the tune of billions and billions of dollars, well, then maybe you should just secede as president of Canada and become the 51st state of the United States of America. Man, let me know your thoughts. So Donald Trump, very aggressive here, not playing nice with these other nations, making sure that America comes first, getting very aggressive and letting them know you will not rip off and take advantage of the United States and our economy any longer. Man, let me know your thoughts. And again, if you like that, 47s for the Trump effect, like I see Jackie Garcia did. Thank you for that $5 super chat, Jackie. I appreciate that. And also hit that like button. Help spread this out further so more people can get the latest information on the Trump effect. Now, again, that conversation between, they're saying, Justin Trudeau of Canada and between Donald Trump, I have not been able to confirm it. I just saw it right before I went live on social media. Haven't been able to confirm it, but I think that is pretty hilarious if that in fact took place. Trump not messing around. And I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he literally just threatened Iran and Hamas and the proxy groups and said, you will have all hell to pay You will not see anything like in history the response that America is about to have against you if you do not release the hostages. In addition to that, he is threatening 100% tariffs against China and Russia. He's coming in aggressive, no fear, major threats being issued here. And so we will see. I see Mark Cooper is saying that he saw it as well. Yeah, I haven't been able to confirm it. So just want to clarify that. I like to provide all the sources, put it on the screen, cite everything. That's just something I saw. Haven't got to dive into it. It was literally right before I went live. I was just checking a couple of updates on my phone and I saw that. And so Donald Trump, the Trump effect taking place all over the world right now. And right now, this is a major concern as well as securing our southern border and our northern border for those that are trying to enter in and do issues, problems, create havoc, sleeper cells in the United States. We heard these warnings from FBI Director Wray, who actually we've heard in the last 24 hours, Donald Trump is trying to replace as well, trying to switch him out and get somebody else in there that he said will do a better job of protecting the United States with the FBI. And we had heard the warnings that these various nations are sending over individuals illegally through our borders to come in, to create sleeper cells, to potentially wreak havoc on the United States. We've heard warnings of cyber attacks, physical attacks here on our own soil in the United States. So Donald Trump is saying we cannot have this anymore. We're going to have a mass deportation of migrants. We are going to get them out of here. If you came in illegally as an immigrant, you have got to go. Not that we don't want to help people with asylum and bring people in that want to be helped or that will contribute to American society, that want better lives, but you've got to go through the correct process. If you came in illegally, you broke the law, you're gonna go. So he is saying there will be a mass deportation because we have got to vet those people coming in to make sure that we can ensure the safety of the American people, especially with all the conflicts that are currently taking place around the world at this time. So Donald Trump getting very aggressive with border security. He's even proposed an Iron Dome for the United States. If you think that we need an Iron Dome in addition to wall and border protection, drop a 1 in the comments. If you think an Iron Dome is not necessary, put a 2. But right now, I think that any defensive or security measures that we can have in the United States is not a bad idea with all the conflict that is currently taking place around the world. So that is being proposed by Donald Trump to secure our nation, our borders, protect us from outside threats trying to come in. And also we've got conflict taking place economically and physically around the globe. Global conflicts all over. Donald Trump trying to make sure that he can get a handle on these. And I'm seeing ones pouring in, people saying, yes, the United States needs its own Iron Dome, defense systems to protect us from missile attacks. As we have seen, as I shared with you, those maps released showing some of the major cities and where devastation would unfold if we were to be hit by nuclear weapons. So I don't think it's a bad idea. Chris A. is also proposing the Iron Beam, which has actually come out recently from Israel as well. They have an Iron Dome, the Iron Beam, David Sling. They've got several different missile protections around the nation of Israel. What about the United States? In addition to not having probably sufficient defenses, we've also heard that they're not positioned very well either. A lot of our defense systems are going out to the east and to the west to protect against potential attacks from Russia and China from the seas. However, we're hearing that there is almost none, if any at all, that are protecting us from attacks from the south, which is why it's such a major concern when we see Russian fleets going down to Cuba. If they were to supply them with nuclear weapons that could be used as an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse to take down our defenses, launched from Cuba into the U.S., we would almost have no ability to stop them. It would require a lot of maneuvering to try to stop attacks from the south. That is without a doubt the weakest part of the United States of America. So we're hearing that there is a lot of improvement that can be done by our defenses, and a lot of people saying that the United States has just gotten lazy, lackadaisical, comfortable, feeling that we are the global power, the largest military and economic power on earth, and just kind of gotten lazy on potential defenses, kind of proud, thinking that no one would ever dare to attack the United States. But we're hearing right now, it appears our enemies are teaming up, our adversaries, and they are trying to break down the United States, China alone has been infiltrating infrastructure systems in the United States for the past 5 years and have compromised, we've heard, dozens and dozens and upon dozens of water systems, power grids, transportation, communication systems, ready to orchestrate an attack to wreak havoc on the United States simultaneously in one swipe when they are ready to go to war. So it is time to step up our efforts to protect the United States of America's people. And that is exactly what Donald Trump is trying to do right now. And we are seeing the Trump effect taking place. So, like I said, all of this coming out today, December the 2nd, 2024. All these articles linked down in the description below, and all of them cited for you so you can click the hyperlinks, go right to them, and read them for yourself. But that is the latest information. I see Brandon saying hit that like button. Thank you for the support, Brandon. Yes, I will keep you guys up to speed. The U.S. so weak as heck, says Joe. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, Joe. I think the United States still is the world power economically and militarily. I just think that we also need to be, we cannot become lackadaisical. We've got to stay aware, stay on our toes, because right now our enemies, they want to take us over. We're seeing all of this done by BRICS to take us over economically. Russia flexing their nuclear powers. A lot of threats being posed against the United States. We have just got to stay sharp. Make sure that we are not overthrown. So I will make sure that I keep you guys up to speed on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll keep you up to date on everything. I see Jessica saying thank you for the update. Steve, God bless. You are very welcome. I will keep you guys up to date on everything. Like I said, I'm going to start doing multiple topics per live stream, and then I'll start breaking them up into various videos on the video section. But the live streams, I'm going to come on here, and I'm going to let you guys know all the latest going on. All this today, December the 2nd, 2024. There's just so much taking place. I've just got to do multiple topics in a live stream. And if you missed the one earlier today, you're going to want to check it out as well, as we had heard that there was nuclear war drills, nuclear bombers that were up in the air over the weekend that caused a lot of alarm to U.S. allies. China and Russia saying these are just typical drills. However, the question is, do you trust China and Russia on their statements? A lot of people very nervous what unfolded over the weekend. So if you missed that, check that out right after this. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit that like button. Just about 80 more likes gets us to 1,800 likes while we're live. I appreciate it. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. And additional resources linked down below. Amazon links, a lot of Amazon deals. Cyber Monday, now's the time to stock up if you want to get supplies and various items linked in the description below. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.